Hello and welcome to the Moto Mash, brought to you by the Midweek Mashed Tattie. I'm your host, Harvey. With me today, as usual, are Michael and Paul. How are you doing, lads?
Oh, hey. Very well.
Ooh.
Yes, very well, friend. Very well.
Happy with it's kind of shows your age when you're happy that bloody Prime Minister's resigning. You get excited about stuff like that.
Is it happy, or is it like Return of the King, Lord of the Rings kind of happy, where it's happy but there's a cost?
You're right about that.
I'd say I'm relieved more than anything else.
Aye, relieved. That's a good word there, Michael. I'm not even in the bloody country and I'm bloody relieved.
It's good that the longest, shittest joke that's been overtold for so many years is finally just about over. Aye, definitely.
Mm-hmm. Aye. That's some very exciting stuff. Let's get straight into the Austrian Grand Prix. I mean, the whole weekend was pretty sweet, wasn't it?
It was indeed, man.
For this one here.
Action start to finish, man. The qualifying for the qualifying was exciting. The qualifying was exciting. And the race was exciting.
So the qualifying for the sprint race was exciting.
Yep.
The sprint race was exciting.
Yep.
And then the race was exciting.
It was indeed.
Yes.
I've stopped calling it sprint qualifying now because it's just too much qualifying.
Just call it the sprint race. Just go with the sprint.
The sprint race. No, it was yeah. Bro, you want to start with the sprint race, or do you want to start with qualifying?
I mean, we can start with the middle and finish with the start.
We'll start with. We actually usually do that, don't we? We start talking about something and then go jump about. And, I remember on lap whatever.
I think we should attempt to go in chronological order.
I will attempt. I was just going to say we'll attempt to do it properly this week.
Mm-hmm.
No promises, folks.
Let's go viral fire. Let's try anyway.
Qualifying, that was pretty exciting. And then actually it had a wee bit. Well, some folk would call it controversy, but obviously Sergio Perez exceeding track limits and them not deleting the times until after the qualifying itself, so that bumped everybody up. Well, not everybody, but
aye. So the Red Bull Ring's one of these tracks where the drivers will routinely cross the dreaded white line and get their knuckles slapped for exceeding track limits. And quite a few drivers were having a wee bit of bother with it and getting some warnings and stuff right for the get-go. You could see it was going to happen in practices, and obviously then through initial qualifying it was happening.
Through the weekend.
And a couple of people had pretty quick, I wouldn't say instant, but pretty quick decisions for the marshals. No, for the marshals, the marshals, that's right, isn't it?
Marshals, yes.
Confused myself. Pretty quick decisions for the marshals, vis-a-vis that lap time's deleted. That's not going to count because you've exceeded track limits. But then it was end of Q2 going into Q3, right? Perez had a lap where he had exceeded track limits, but rather than come back and saying, right, we're investigating, we'll have a decision before Q3, they went, we'll look into it, we'll get back to you later. And they let him carry on into Q3 like everything was fine.
Yep.
And then what was the final decision? You got a note of it? I've got a rough idea in my head, but I don't want to make an ass of it. So like so Perez qualified in like what, fourth, fifth?
I can't mind that.
Initially,
fourth. I want to say
fourth.
Aye, because it was Verstappen, the two Ferrari. Aye, it was fourth.
Because Russell was fifth, and then
Russell
went fourth.
So they deleted. So they did delete the time in Q2.
Yep.
So the time on that lap is the one that set him to go into Q3. So with the lap time that he had, it wasn't good enough to get into Q3. So then he started.
So the 10th, right? They don't just make him
no.
10th?
No, it
Did
was
they bump him right down?
They bumped him right down to where he would have finished.
Oh, right, okay.
So pretty much everybody moved up a place. I think it was 14th or something he started.
Aye, that rings a bell. Like 13th or 14th.
14th, around there. So
strange that they decided to go about it that way. Marshals, I mean. It seems with that sort of thing, it seems pretty cut and dry. Like double check the footage. Tyre definitely crossed the line. Right, he's exceeded track limits. That lap time doesn't count. Like, doesn't make any sense why they waited.
I don't know why they waited so long.
I don't know if it changes the outcome in terms of like the overall result of where everybody qualified, but it took away the chance for whoever just went out in Q2. It took away the chance of them to having a really good lap in Q3 or whatever. But I don't know. I don't think it made a massive difference overall. Well, to be fair, it gave Perez a hard run at it. But yeah, that's what it is. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it is what it is. To be honest, and then we had the two Mercedes crashing. Actually, Lewis Hamilton first, I believe, crashed it. Yeah, and then George Russell, because Lewis Hamilton would have started 10th. Sorry, because there was so much time left, for everybody to qualify. He was, 10th, really. He actually, his time was 8th. So he set a time for the 8th, but then, everybody could improve. So he started in 10th. Would have started in 10th. And he started in 9th due to the Perez incidents.
Yeah.
But they were saying, when I was watching it, the Mercedes team were actually thinking that he could have qualified P3. That's what they were aiming for, which was, if he didn't, I think it was like, oh no, it wasn't him, it was Augusto, and was it? He was, that's right, he went that way, and then the front gripped up, and he smashed.
Wait, you think about his crash?
Aye.
You put away a train of thought.
Sorry.
You've left us in the station, man.
Aye.
Come back, Harvey. Come back.
Aye. So his back end lost traction and stepped out on him. A wee bit of oversteer. It was like I can't remember what turn it was, but it's one of the high speed sort of long sweeping turns. There's like 4 of them in that bloody track. It was a left turn. His back end stepped out. He tried to correct, and when he's tried to correct, he suddenly found grip, and it's sent him careering off the track. There was nothing he could do about it.
Aye.
Just a kind of freak accident. But I wonder if Mercedes have, as part of like their workings to do away with not do away with, but to minimise the porpoising and stuff, I'm wondering if they had changed the aeros or changed the ride height or something, and they had just lost a wee bit of downforce on the back end, because it seemed like when we got to the race on the Sunday that they seem to have then increased the downforce. This is, I'm totally speculating here, but it seemed to me like they've increased the downforce to correct the rear end grip issue, which then has reduced their straight line speed.
I don't know. It could have been, but here's the thing, right? Because it could have been a simple mistake for Lewis Hamilton as well, because they have on their steering wheel, they can change like the differentials and everything like that. So going into each corner, like you change to what you feel it is. Maybe he didn't change it properly. It didn't change properly or something, and maybe that's what's caused it. It could have been a bunch of stuff. But I don't really know. I mean,
it's just the fact that both of them spun off. Seemingly, both of them. It's because they've lost traction on the rear end, and then both of them have been making some sort of complaints during the race that they've felt like they're not quite as quick as they were. Just kind of screams to me that lack of downforce, too much downforce. But I ain't no engineer or nothing, so just wild speculation.
Aye. But imagine if he had qualified third for that race, the sprint race. That would have been something.
It would have been interesting for the start.
For the start.
I feel like his race would have been with Sainz and maybe like Russell and Ocon or whatever. Like they would have been like they would have broke off, and I feel like Leclerc and Verstappen would have run away. I don't know that Hamilton would have hung on, and I think Sainz would have got caught up in the battle with Hamilton. I don't think he would just like blow past them and then go away with the other two. So, I don't know if the pace was there for him to challenge the front runners, but we'll never know.
We'll never know, and I'm glad we'll never know, because instead we were treated to a wee bit of action with Mick Schumacher.
Aye.
Defending very admirably.
We've piqued Paul's interest now.
So, I mean, I think if the Haas had a wee bit more speed, I think he could have defended against him all day. But obviously, they don't have that speed, you know. You can see when Lewis Hamilton eventually, on that long straight, managed to get just behind him enough that he couldn't come over and cover, that he just started to edge away, you know. If you had a wee bit more top speed, but it just shows you the ability that Mick Schumacher has.
I'll tell you, there is
the potential is there.
Something in that boy awoken the minute he's got points last weekend. There's a wee bit of nastiness in his game all of a sudden, and a bit of competitiveness now. I love it. I love it.
A belief, a confidence in the car.
I was going to say, that goes hand in hand with the upgrades that they've brought into this car that's made the car that bit better.
Oh, they trust their car.
Now he's like, right, okay, boom. And I think he did say that he was working with K-Mag, and K-Mag has been showing him a thing or two, like about the car and stuff, because obviously he's a lot more experienced, like showing him a trick on it, and he said he's really learned from him as well. But I'm sure that car's got better, and now it's just
I would go along with that, what you're saying there with K-Mac here. I think that's what maybe Mick Schumacher needed, was an experienced driver as a teammate to kind of come on from. Like, obviously the previous season it was a disaster, and it was the Mazepin experiment, and it was two boys effectively in this failing car. Everything about the circumstance of this season has basically been to help Mick Schumacher really come out into his own as an exciting young talent. That's one thing I noticed this weekend, is that dogfighter win mentality that his dad had. It's there.
Win or die.
I wasn't sure if it was ever there in him. I thought it was a bit too nice. It's there. I cannot wait to see the rest of the season now with this boy. If that car holds up, wow. You could see some fun, I think.
It's going to be fun rest of the season. Obviously, we're halfway through the season now.
I know. I mean, that's a halfway point.
Forgot to mention that it's 11 races now. I mean, let's just jump into the race then.
I know. So I just get carried away, lads.
Unless there was something you wanted to talk about the sprint.
I was just going to mention that. So, like, we saw like Lewis Hamilton versus the Haas team, both in the sprint and the race. And it somehow just happened that it was like the same story in both. It just kind of, they went through the motions a wee bit quicker in the race. It took Hamilton a wee bit longer in the sprint to get through, but basically it was like while they both had DRS, Mick Schumacher gave a really good account of himself, both in the sprint and the race, in terms of his defensive ability. He used every bit of the straight line speed that the Haas had, and he lap after lap was putting himself in the right place.
Absolutely.
And the thing is, like, that's no like a I don't know, like an Ocon or a Gasly or an Albon that's behind him, you know, somebody that's got a bit of experience but they're no world beaters. That's fucking Lewis Hamilton. That is
Exactly, man.
like the best of his generation, who is a phenomenal overtaker. And Mick Schumacher was holding him at bay.
Aye, fighting.
It cannot be understated how impressive that was for him.
Same with Silverstone last week with Verstappen, where he's hunting Verstappen down and attacking the world champion. Obviously, Verstappen in a car that's been kind of short.
It was damaged.
Short a wee bit down for its top kind of performance.
The what's the stakes were evened. I'm trying to think. There's a phrase, but
the playing field was even.
The playing field,
a more level playing field. I think would be what you're trying to get at.
That's it. The playing field was levelled.
Aye, but in a level playing field, you could see there was a belief in his ability.
Aye,
driver of the week, obviously. He won.
I did it this week. He won driver of the day today. Well, so, thought it was brilliant. So, as you're saying there, Michael, to see him do it against Lewis Hamilton's brilliant, especially when Lewis Hamilton has a better car.
Aye.
And he was managing to hold him at, like, it was brilliant to see.
Although it seems like the Haas had slightly better straight line speed.
Aye.
Like Hamilton needed every bit of the DRS to make the pass work. Like, he could put himself in the right position time after time to attack, but the speed just wasn't there for the Mercedes. He needed the DRS to get the job done.
That's what I'm saying. I think if he had a couple of extra miles an hour in that car, I think he could have held him out all day. Like,
I mean, that's what Hamilton.
The way that he was defending,
like straight line speed is crazy.
That was today.
That was today. Hamilton said that
in the race. Aye.
He was like, the Haas's straight line speed is nuts.
Yep.
I was watching. I was looking at it. I was like, that's like. Anyway, let's get into the race. So first lap, we have a wee crash. Poor Perez after qualifying 13th for the sprint. After the sprint, he's up into 5th, and he gets in front of George Russell. George Russell just nicks him, and he's
interesting
off.
to see what he's think of that.
What?
So, is it careless for both of them, or is one of them really at fault? Obviously, because of the way the rules are, and with Perez having the nose in front, the corner's then his. It's up to Russell to keep himself out the road within reason. Obviously, Perez can't just shut the door on him, but like in reality, in the middle of a race, do they both need to be a lot more careful in that situation? That's kind of the way I lean.
They need to be. I would. If you go back and watch a replay on board, Russell's car, it's clear that Russell moves into him. Russell's in the corner when they're coming out.
Yep.
He moves a bit. Perez gives him so much space, and Russell comes and just hits him. So for me, that's Russell's fault all day long.
Russell comes off his line. Yep.
Aye. I think Perez does everything correct. He's gave him the space while going out the outside. He actually moves away just when Russell comes over too and hits him in the back.
They're coming out the back end of the corner. They're starting to open up. So Perez is starting to move back towards the left of the track.
Aye.
But then Russell, I don't know if I didn't get enough like kind of good angles on it or anything to see if like Russell had any traction issues or if he literally just was like, fuck you. Like, it was hard to see if like did something happen and he was fighting the car a wee bit through the corner, or did they literally just
I
try
don't
and
know.
bully Perez a wee bit?
I mean, it could be anything to it. I don't know. He could have lost a wee bit of traction because he does. There is a wee moment where
He's back and
onboard.
forward. It's no like one fluid turn into him kind of thing. Like there's a bit of jiggery pokery going on. But
I mean, and then he gets what, a 5-second penalty? Was it? Which, I mean,
5 seconds.
in my eyes, I don't know. I don't know about that rule because you're taking somebody at the race. Like, I'm not saying that you should be put at the race as well, especially if it's a genuine, wasn't paying enough attention kind of thing. But I don't know if 5 seconds is face enough. Like,
it kind of seems like there should be a way they can word the rules that your penalty in that situation has to be equal, or well, probably has to be worse than whatever happens to the person whose race you've impacted. So if the guy you've collided with drops 5 places, then you should drop 6. Or you know what I mean? Like if
I get what you're saying.
If the guy you've collided with is like out the race, then you're out the race too, kind of thing. Like it kind of like it seems like he's got away lightly in a sense. But at the same time, like, it's a consistent decision based on the rules.
Aye, exactly. I mean, I don't know if you say to him, right, you're out the race, and if it's a genuine mistake, then there's no malice to it. Like, it's like maybe then a 15-second penalty or something, like, or 10 seconds is a bit, I don't know. I just feel like 5 is too short, but I mean, anyway. We could talk about that and go back and forth all day, like,
Aye.
So I started racing, and then it was very evident that Red Bull don't know what they have done to their car this weekend, but, well, not weekend, last night and today, because they were rapid. Today, like, yesterday they won the
you mean
eyes
Ferrari?
enemy. Sorry, what did I say?
You said Red Bull.
Sorry, Ferrari.
Aye.
My bad. Ferrari. That's because I just looked at the standings and Max Verstappen at Red Bull. Sorry, the Ferrari. Yeah, they've done something overnight because they looked rapid, didn't they?
But Leclerc had said after the sprint, it's like it's all right. We'll get him tomorrow. Like, it's as if like they knew that they had set themselves up for the race this week rather than the qualifying. Like, he knew that there was more to come.
Yeah.
I wonder what they've been working on.
I don't know. It was brilliant. I mean, sheesh. And then again, watching Mick Schumacher today, in the actual race itself. Oh man, that was brilliant to see him just out there making moves on people. Even his teammate, he was like, "See you later, K-Mac. I'm off." I'm away up the road now. Let's go. Like, you defend me if you want. I'm all right.
I have to give a quick bit of praise to Haas as a team. Because I think they've pretty much nailed their strategies this week. It was a great week for Haas.
The only thing that I would say maybe is, I forgot to cover this in the sprint, was when Mick had said to the team, like, just ask Kevin to slow down a bit so that I can get DRS and hold off him,
Aye.
But I think by the time they had,
it was too late.
Yeah, it was K-Mac was too far forward. Aye. So, but they've got the strategy spot on. Obviously, when they've seen Mick just springing away, they've said, right, okay, well, you're a priority now, so kind of thing. Let's do it. And great race, finished 6th. Like,
tremendous couple of weekends.
Well,
they're on a streak. They're on a run.
Aye. He took, can't even, like, the fault that he overtook today, like, He was taking Norris' teammate, like bunch of folk. And this is what I was saying, make sure that like we just need a car that is good enough to show his capabilities. And I mean, the Haas car looks now to be like we're seeing his capabilities now. You know, I just hope that that car can keep up and they can bring in more upgrades as time goes on through the year. You know, and he keeps winning points. That'd be tremendous for him in his career. And sure,
I think one day you're going to see him as a Ferrari driver.
Aye, no doubt.
All of a sudden, I feel more confident in that.
Aye, it's the future doesn't look great for Sainz at this point, so we might see Mick Schumacher with Ferrari sooner rather than later.
Mm-hmm.
That was terrifying, by the way, with Sainz.
They're trying to cremate the boy now.
Dear God, that was scary. It wasn't just that the thing went fire. Was that the thing didn't stop rolling? A bloody one of the kind of rescue team had to chuck a wee block under one of the tyres to stop the car.
To put a block. Mm-hmm. They don't have handbrakes. That's
of course, aye. So if it's on a hill, it's going to roll.
That's why he was trying to get it up a wee bit.
Aye,
keep going up a wee bit, but didn't work.
That's pretty scary, man.
He stayed in as long as he could, didn't he?
Aye. He did what he could.
He stayed in until the hairs in the back of his neck were burning and he thought, "Oh Lord Jesus, it's a fire."
Oh, it was it was getting to the near miss area, like, it really was.
Aye.
Pretty scary.
He should just have put it on the gravel. It wouldn't have went anywhere then. But
then you say that with hindsight.
No, that's what I'm saying. Hindsight, hindsight's a wonderful thing, isn't it? But
you've got to think.
I mean, when you see,
sorry, Harvey, but you've got to think that the team should have been able to see how bad that was getting, because they surely they're getting temperature readings and stuff. So surely they could see that. Right, Sainz, you can't hang about. You need to get out the car, dump it in the gravel or whatever is as safe as possible for you to exit the vehicle, but do it as quick as possible. But they just kind of, I didn't have the full team commentary going on, but like it kind of seemed like they just sort of left them to it. Like, your engine's gobbled. When you go, Parker.
Aye. It was nearly a disaster weekend. Obviously, there was the issue with Leclerc's clutch as well.
Another 2 or 3 laps, by the way. Leclerc was
having to drag his own bloody pedal up for the floor with his toes.
Another couple of.
It was locking on the floor, wasn't it, when he was pushing it down?
Well, they don't know that. They said that's what it sounded like he was doing.
That's what he was doing. Like,
yeah. It could have been electrical or something like.
It could have been.
It wasn't necessarily the actual pedal, but seemingly like the accelerator wasn't releasing fully, so he was then having problems shifting gears because the car wasn't wanting to downshift because the revs were still high, because it was still doing some light acceleration.
Sounds like bloody nightmare.
Right, man.
Aye.
If that was another lap, I don't even think one more lap, and I think Verstappen could have caught
very
him.
Possibly, because Leclerc was only getting slower. He was having a lot of bother.
The time was going down, man. Like,
but
well managed by Leclerc in the end. Like,
going back to the with Sainz Junior there, did you see the is it, what do you call it? The stewards?
Oh no, see.
No,
I was trying to correct myself earlier. I said marshals and I meant stewards, and you didn't pick up on it, you bastards.
Aye.
You bastards.
So the marshals were trying to save the day when the fireball was happening.
Aye, the marshals, sorry. So the marshal, did you see him running about in the back? Did you see the big one?
No.
Go back and watch it. Oh, it's hilarious. He just comes out with one fire extinguisher, he looks at the motor, he puts it down, turns around, runs back.
This is not going to cut
runs back somewhere, but he's running and he's just so slow. He's so big and slow. He's just like, I was like, that's like saying, just leave it, mate. Just go.
When it gets to that stage, you've just got to let it burn. Like, what are you going to do?
Too late. Sorry, man, just let it go. God.
Oh man! By the way, if they had brung out the actual safety car and it wasn't the virtual one, that would have been bad for Leclerc.
Aye, definitely, man. Aye.
Verstappen would definitely have took him in the last couple of laps. Yes, but it's another Ferrari, man. Shush. That's another.
They just can't get out the rain road, man.
I mean, so if you think about it, right, Verstappen would have finished third in that race if Sainz was still, able to go on. That's 4 points taken away from, I mean, it doesn't sound like a lot, but over the course of the next 11 races, that could be the difference between Leclerc winning and the championship, Yep. That and then an extra couple of points for the constructors. But it's another missed opportunity. This, I don't know what's going on with Ferrari. There's so much reliability issues.
Another couple of performances like that for Ferrari, and Carlos Sainz could find himself in 6th behind both Mercedes in the Drivers' Championship. Like they're nipping at his heels now.
Aye, they're right there. They're right there, man. But you know what's crazy? Lewis Hamilton in 3rd. He finished 41 seconds behind Max Verstappen. That's God. It's a far way away.
They seem to sort of give up chasing him quite early.
Aye.
It's like they realised that they were only going to wear their tyres too quick, but trying to hold on to their delta. So they just kind of raced the rain race. And there seemed to be chat that like they were going to try and stretch out a gap so that they could do a late pit stop onto softs and go for the fastest lap.
Pretty fast lap.
Which didn't happen because of what went on behind them, and it ended up being Russell was behind them but no far enough back for a pit stop and that.
Yep.
But I kind of wonder, like, well, I'm wondering as I was talking about earlier on, was that Mercedes at its best, or were they having some issues there with trying to get like the aerial set up or whatever? Because it seemed like they had kind of hurt their straight line speed a wee bit. But I mean, it could just be that Haas have improved that much as well. But
that could be.
So there's that kind of question, but then there's also the question of like, at what point did they kind of make the decision where race isn't away the top two today, and so maybe they could have pushed that wee bit more.
I think probably was early because the tyres were degrading quite a bit today. Everybody set out with the intention for a one-stop strategy. Ended up being 3 stops for most people.
Yep.
It was well, I say most, about
a good few.
1, 2, 5, and then the rest were 2. So
it seems like Pirelli are dead set in making it hard for them.
Aye.
Like I don't know if they've genuinely got it right with their tyre choice at any race this year.
I don't know what's going on.
Because that was the 3 softest compounds they were saying for this race that Pirelli broke. So like even on the hards, like they're kind of like soft. Like they're effectively mediums. Like, you know what I mean? Like they're low. In the grand scheme of things, for all the tyre compounds that Pirelli have got for this year. I don't know if that was the right choice.
I don't know. It's weird how they have the 3. So for the races, it's hard, medium, soft. But they have X amount of different compounds for the hard, medium, soft. And I'm just like, just have like 12 different, like super soft. You know what I mean? Name them different thing. Like, see what at least that way we know what it is, you know what I mean, as a fan, and then we can say, they're doing me like they're really sort of, you know what I mean? But I don't know. Oh, by the way, I know we're halfway through, but I had some guests on the boat with me the other day. Young, I think they're like 1920 for America. They were there with the parents and that. They're very enthusiastic about F1.
Right, so it's making a wee dent.
They're they're from Denver. But it was good to see. So we was literally just sitting chatting about sports, like when we were in between stops, you know. F1, they were really talking, like, I loved it. Only thing is, man, when they were saying Bottas, oh my god. Like, Bottas, and I'm like, no, mate,
not quite.
That's not. It's like, I feel bad for Bottas, man. I'm like, oh my god.
Good try.
Bottas, okay. So it's good to see that they get some younger fans up there actually. In America, it bodes well for the sport.
Absolutely.
And you know what? We actually got talking a wee bit and we went into depth. I know I'm going off track here,
this is a serious tangent even for you, but carry on.
We were talking about Nicholas Latifi, and we were like, we don't like Latifi, this
guys.
and that. We
I'm sorry.
Yes, who again did not finish today.
Because he's sorry, guys.
We were sitting talking and we were saying, like, it's time for Latifi to go. Why not give one of the young, you know, the reserve driver, for them a chance? You know, like, it could be. And then I've heard some chatter now that they're seriously thinking about changing him.
Is that right?
Noel Williams. Aye.
Well, I mean, what is...
So, it's...
I don't know how I feel about that. Like, I wouldn't be mad to see him go, but then at the same time, it's kind of like, well, you've signed the guy, like, you might as well give him the season. If you don't want to bring him back for next year, fair play. I don't blame you, but it seems a bit shitty to think about punting him halfway through the season.
I mean, what is the point of Latifi? I don't know Latifi outside F1. What was he good at before F1 that got him an F1 seat?
I have no idea what he was good at.
I've never once heard mention of him being a previous
some sort of
winner in any of the other formulas.
He's not got the pedigree coming in out of other kind of minor cars or the karts or anything like that. He doesn't. Just a guy, as far as I know. Runner up in Formula 2 in 2019 was what got him into Williams. There you go.
Mm-hmm.
But that's it.
I mean, I don't know. I'm completely different. If I'm the boss and I see you're not up to scratch, what have I got to lose by bringing in the young gun? You know, the reserve driver. Nothing to lose. You're not doing anything, so give him a chance. That's how I feel about it.
Oh, of course, he's a paid driver. Though his father's very independent.
He's fair.
Aye. Latifi, businessman in charge of Sofina Foods Incorporated.
Mm-hmm.
Worth a lot of money.
Anyway,
sorry.
Back to the race. No, you're good. Sonoda didn't have a great race. Vettel didn't. I mean, Vettel's a fair weather driver anyway. Give him a good car and he's good shite car. He's shite. So, you know what I mean. Lando Norris, he had an okay race.
It's quite mixed.
That's a good
for him.
That's a good car for the Haas to compare against. With Mick Schumacher there, how far the Haas has come on. Earlier on they couldn't. I think McLaren were streets above them now. They're kind of neck and neck.
Going by like sort of most recent performances, it's kind of looking like Haas might finish right behind McLaren in the Constructors' Championship. I can see Haas passing
Alfa Romeo.
It was Alfa Romeo and was it Alpine?
Alpine.
Aye.
Mm-hmm. Well, if they keep getting these double points and finishing above,
that's it. Well, that's the thing for constructors, man. It's consistency. It's get both your guys into points week after week. That's not the name of the game for Constructors' Championship. That's why Mercedes, as much as they've had so much bother this year, like they're in a really strong position at this point in the season, comparatively speaking.
Aye.
It's just because
I mean, they're third with 237
consistent
points. Like, Ferrari's second with 303 and Red Bull with 359.
Ferrari might just
Haas
continue to tumble down if they keep going the way they're going.
Aye. Haas has 34, and then Alfa Romeo's next with 51. And then in fifth and fourth is McLaren and Alpine, both on 81.
Right, so they're neck and neck. But Alpine, pretty good showing for them, kind of overall this week. But they seem kind of static. Like I suppose they're making small bits of progress, but like they don't seem to be making the leaps like the way Haas has. So like I kind of feel like Haas can really compete with them week and week now.
I think this is where we're starting to see Haas's plan is actually starting to pay off for them. You know, when they said like, last season's just dead anyway, so we're putting all our effort into the car for this year.
Yep.
So obviously they've done a lot of R&D, they've got the concepts and stuff, so they're kind of ahead of the game with some in respect to some of the teams. So obviously they've split their time between last season and this season, you know, where Haas will just this season's are gone. Like we're not even thinking about this season. It's all about next season for us. So now you're actually starting to see that come to fruition. You know, the fruits of their labour.
Yep. I definitely didn't. I didn't give them enough credit earlier in the season. I didn't think they would continually be able to bring updates. I thought by the halfway point they would be tumbling down the table,
struggling,
because they would be a lot more static. But it's actually other teams that I thought would do better at sort of making improvements that just haven't.
I thought McLaren would have been making some nice improvements. Alpine to a certain degree. Mercedes are making improvements. So, which they're
like the one prediction I've got right, man.
That's the first time that Leclerc has won a race that he hasn't started in pole.
That's true, aye.
That's I was. Do you know what? Kudos to him. I was impressed by his kind of sort of cool head and character this week. Like he wasn't phased by no so good performance in qualifying. He overtook Verstappen the first time. Then they shuffled about with pit stops and stuff. Wasn't phased. Overtook him again. Wasn't phased. Had the issues. Well, Sainz went up in a fucking fireball. Like Leclerc just went about his business. And then the issues he had at the end of the race, and again kept cool. I mean, wasn't particularly happy about it on the radio, but like he kept his head and he dealt with the issue, and he won the race. Like really impressive for him, man. It was like a coming of age moment.
Yeah, it was a wee coming of age moment for him. So it was. Aye. Good to see him get the win after a torrid couple of weeks. As well for him. Is there anything else you want to talk about that race, Paul?
No, but I think we've covered it pretty well in here. Obviously, we knew we break for a wee couple of weeks now for France.
Yep.
It's all sailed to a good second half of the season. Leclerc winning obviously puts a bit of excitement back in it. We're now just a win and a wee bit away for him catching Verstappen to keep it interesting. Yeah, a lot to look forward to, lads.
Yep, definitely. Michael went into the ad about the Austrian Grand Prix there.
Nah, I've not really got.
Nah.
I feel like we've covered everything I would want to cover there, man. It was a great race.
It was just
actually the only thing we've not touched on, right? Something that's been annoying me more and more year and year. The bloody smoke bomb thing. You get it through the year, right? But that race just seems to be so much worse than any other, man. The Orange Army, as they say, like they go heavy on the smoke. Like, surely that's a fucking health and safety nightmare, man. Like, do we not think, like, should they not be trying to stop that?
You actually asked racers about it, and they said they weren't bothered by it. A lot of them.
I heard Verstappen. His interview saying he didn't mind, especially because it was orange. But like, I mean, I mind. Like, it affects the TV viewing. Like, you can't see what's happening up ahead at times because the drivers are going into a cloud of fucking smoke.
Sometimes, I don't know, man. I'm near here nor there on it, to be honest.
It didn't greatly bother me.
I don't mind it.
It didn't really.
Maybe
sometimes I think it.
Old man yells at cloud.
Old man yells at cloud,
I think in certain circumstances it adds to the atmosphere and stuff like. But I would certainly say if it was affecting the drivers, then or affecting anybody in the crowd, you know.
But actually, that's last thing I'm saying it right. That's another interesting point. If I've paid God knows how many hundreds of pounds to get a great seat in the grandstand, and then I can't see 2 inches in front of me because the rest of the arseholes in the grandstand are letting off smoke bombs, I would be bloody raging.
I mean, there was 300,000 over there or something.
Something like that, man. They were saying it was like a record crowd.
But just because we're talking about that and the fans now, actually there was some bother there.
Oh, was it?
Fans, some of them were being, they were drunk. Some of them were
Rowdy.
drunk, but rowdy, saying inappropriate things to women and then saying stuff, homophobic stuff, racial slurs as well, but in fans, between fans. So. F1 are investigating it, or they're going to investigate it.
Right.
And severe punishments will be made. I think, what is it, Vettel, I think he said that just ban him for life, for any motorsport. Like, he says you have to be harsh,
don't let it fester,
stamp it out straight away. Like,
I'm with that.
That's one way to do it. That's one way to deal with it. So it is. I mean, it's the first time I've heard of it, heard of that in F1. So I mean, I don't know. Usually that's football.
Usually it's fucking old ex-drivers that are coming out with the racist part. So.
Well, that day.
Change your pace.
Yeah. So I move on to the French Grand Prix. That will be in 2 weeks' time. That's on the
last week of July.
Last week of July. Yes, last week of July. Is it 22nd and 23rd? I want to say.
To look at a calendar. Well, if it is indeed the last week of July, then it will be the 29th, the 30th and 31st. So
no, so it's not the last week.
It's not the last week.
It's just July 24th.
Next week, 16th, 17th. So if it's 1 week off, then it's the 23rd, 24th. But if it's 2 weeks off, then it is the last week.
We skip a week.
Do you know what?
Then it's.
There's no need for us to be.
I'm telling you, it's July the 24th.
Oh, you looked it up now? Right.
It's July the 24th.
Okay, fair play.
Oh, God. So who do we think this track favours? Obviously, we've got... Well, aye. For sure, I would say Haas. I would say Red Bull.
There's a reasonable mix. There's some going to be some high speed bits on that. There's like effectively 3 straights.
Yeah,
you've got like a main straight, and then you've got sort of 2 sizable straights interrupted by a chicane. Looks like so. And then you've got a couple of sweeping corners. I'd say like
you got that high speed corner right there between 12 and 14. Well, they say 13 is the long curve, so if you see it there. I would say, I think this track suits Red Bull more than it does Ferrari. I think Haas can be competitive here.
2 DRS zones. That'll be an interesting one.
That'll be another interesting
What that'll
one,
be good for is getting a real good look at where Mercedes are actually at now.
That's true, actually.
Because there's a lot of high speed going on there. There's less of it, although there is a couple of high speed corners and stuff in there. There's much less compared to the likes of the Red Bull Ring. So, couldn't they sort their whatever was going on there out and really get the most out of their top speed, straight line speed, and then still have that balance that they're no losing the back end in the corners. But I've got high hopes for Haas on that track.
Aye, I'm looking at it now, and I think Haas could do very well there. Actually, again, double points for them would be fantastic. You know, I'm just excited to see what Mick Schumacher can do again. I'm not even caring about the title race now. I'm like, come on, Mick.
All aboard the big ship, Haas. Good. The
mid-table has been like pretty epic right the way through the season so far.
Aye. The middle of the pack racing's been phenomenal.
Probably the most open the middle of the field's been for a long time. Like the middle of the field essentially has the majority of the cars now. Like Williams are kind of cut off at the bottom. Effectively.
Torrid time.
Everybody else is Andy's guess.
Aston Martin's a hit
Aston Martin, I was just about to say it as well. Aston Martin would probably be the bottom two team.
Yeah.
It's been a very, very bad campaign for Aston Martin.
I think Latifi is the only one who hasn't scored points now.
He's still sorry. He's still sorry.
I mean, I shouldn't be surprised, but
him and Hulkenberg, but Hulkenberg was only one race, wasn't it?
One race wonder,
But he's just a backup driver.
I've actually found Albon's done very well in the Williams car, despite the fact that it's obviously probably the weakest car on the grid. He's certainly not embarrassed himself by any means, but
see, the thing with Albon is that he's really capable, right? He has the ability, but I don't know if it's like the mindset or like a lack of concentration at times or what, but just now and again he does some really stupid things. Like it's like he can't hold it together for a full season. He has potential. He showed potential when he was coming through at Red Bull. He showed potential in cars that, you know, like he's seemingly getting much more out the car than what he should at times. Certainly now, but like then there's days and there's incidents where it's like, what were you thinking?
It's like, my friend, what are you doing? It's aye. Who knows what's going through his head sometimes? I mean, did he finish 12th today? It's not bad. Aye. Anyway, let's say about these drivers a bit. He had, here I go. I'm saying the less said, and I'm actually, I think he had so much potential. I'm going back into it. I can't help myself sometimes. You know what I mean? Anyway, we'll just leave it there. So looking forward to the French Grand Prix. Get a good look at how some of these cars can perform around there, and hopefully have another exciting weekend from start to finish. That would be fantastic.
Place your bets now on how many Ferraris make it to the end of the race.
Well, right, here's the thing. We've got two issues at Ferrari now.
Aye.
Like, on why they wouldn't finish a race. Reliability of the cars, reliability of the drivers.
Yep.
Like, you know what I mean? Fighting each other.
Reliability of the strategists.
And reliability of the team as well, the strategist. I mean, the three, you've got a triple edged sword right there. Triple edged sword, sorry. Aye. I mean, next week we could see them out in front, and
do you know what?
Saints.
We should mention, like, I don't want to jinx them, touch wood, right? Haas are Ferrari powered, aren't they?
Aye.
So, like, it's looking like it's coming up fucking roses the now, but like they need to be aware of the reliability issues of the Ferrari engine, man.
Yep. Oh, do you know what else we never actually meant? Well, sorry, I never mentioned. With Saints, that fire right there. Obviously, a lot of stuff's going to need replacing.
Oh, so aye, that's a write-off. Insurance isn't touching that.
Later on in the season, that's going to lead to penalties.
Aye.
For changing parts.
Yep.
Over changing parts. So that would be a bit, aye. If he's in a title race and then come a couple of races to the end and then he has another power unit change and then he has to start from the back, it could be a disaster for him. But anyway, love yous and leave yous there. Just like to say thank you all very much for listening. If you enjoy this podcast, remember to check out the AEW Mash and the MMA Mash. They came out before this. Go check them out. We talk about AEW, the lovely world of pro wrestling, and MMA, and both fun podcasts, very informative as well. Please check them out if you haven't already. And we love all the support from you. We love all the feedback that we get. So keep sharing, keep giving us feedback. Bye-bye, driver.
Bye-bye, driver.
Bye.